Hello, everybody. Namaste. I'm Asrael, and I'm coming to you live today from Nashville, Tennessee, where it is just beautiful and warm and sunny. And you can really feel spring, right? Spring like blossoming, even though there aren't too many blossoms on the trees yet. It's just, yeah, like life feels like it's moving. And that's sort of what I want to talk about today is the movement of life, the movement of the energy that we're all feeling in the collective right now. And yeah, how to hold the vibration, right? That we're really wanting to sort of anchor in. I sort of want to talk about like the shift into the new earth and the 5D reality. And at the same time, yeah, how do we navigate that being human beings, right? But before I get into that, I want to share just a little bit about me. My name is Asrael Zemenick. I am an intuitive reader, a spiritual mentor, coach, as well as an astrologer, a qigong practitioner, and yeah, so many things. An Ayurvedic practitioner as well, or Ayurvedic counselor as well. And I'm living in Nashville, Tennessee, and I work with people online as well as locally. You can always find out more about me at www.azrael.love. And I have a YouTube channel with tons of free information and free meditations. And it's youtube.com/at Soulstar Collective. And that being said, I want to let you know next week on my show, I'm having a very special guest, a dear friend of mine, Sarah Sopercale from Soundseed Yoga. And we're going to be talking about vibration and sound and healing and opening up to the vibrations of the universe. And we have a really beautiful guided meditation where she does the sound and channels the sonic transmission, and I share a meditation, and it's just beautiful. So feel free to check it out on YouTube slash at Soulstar Collective, and we'll be on here sharing more about all that next week. So I think I need to like pause and center. I got a little excited there. So why don't we all just do that? Why don't we all just take a moment? The center is like key to navigating these beautiful times of the great birthing that we're in. Maybe taking a big breath in and just sighing out and noticing where you are in your body today. If you're driving, you can just do this with your mind. If you're in a place where you can close your eyes, really give yourself permission to just let go and settle. Just settle just a little bit. What is it like to just drop the narrative just for a moment? To let go of the story. Just pausing just for even this 30 seconds, it's huge. It has such a huge effect on our physiology and on our experience of being. And so feel free to keep your eyes closed as I share. um, Fine to open them. I know sometimes I like to walk around and do things when I'm listening. um, but I invite you to really take time throughout this next 20 minutes or so to just continue whatever you're doing, to just maybe exhale every couple minutes and go, here I am. Here I am. Because if there's one thing that we know, right, within our experience, our reality is the only thing that is true or that we can connect to is our breath and our own experience. And of course, there's another layer to that, whereas we can check in with the power of presence or the power of consciousness and sort of move beyond the storyline, move even beyond our human mind, um, connecting with pure truth, right? And how do we do this? And how is this valuable in these evolving times? Um, so, the first thing I think I'd just like to say is like, know that whatever you're going through, you are not alone. And maybe you're in a place of like great bliss right now and you're like, "Oh my god, my life is going amazing and everything's awesome and all the opportunities are opening up for me." And if that's you, I celebrate you because we've all been there before, right? But for most people or many people right now, they're having an experience, I feel, at least with what I'm coming across, that's quite different from that. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of not knowing, perhaps even lack of clarity. There might be a clarity about some things, but a lack of clarity of the outcome, right? There's a lot of anxiety and depression I'm seeing, a lot of fear, right? And then even within those that aren't feeling those heavy, heavy, big things, right? Like myself from day to day, I'm usually pretty balanced, but there's a sense of like what, or maybe not what's going to happen, but how is the storyline going to play out? How is this new earth, this 5D, going to sort of root itself into earth, right, into this physical realm and this physical reality? And so there's a lot of uncertainty and there's a lot of unknown. And the one thing that I keep coming back to with my clients, and also within myself, is the only thing we can do is tune into the known. And the only thing that we can control is our own experience of this journey, right? And I want to be very, very clear. When I'm talking today, I'm not talking about politics. I'm not talking about opinion. I'm not talking about I'm talking about like everything, right? Um, the stories we're locked into about our own identity, about our needing to be of purpose in this world, right? To be of service in a higher way, of needing to have worth, of needing to show up in a certain way or make a certain amount of money. Um, or the fear that we won't do that, or that can't happen to us, right? I'm talking about who am I, right? Even that idea of who I am. So it's like the stories that as a collective consciousness we weave that keep us limited and keep us stuck in our place, right? And then we can add to that the larger collective, right? Like the political scene, the earth scene, right? Like the scene of what we identify with and attach to, and this is right and this is wrong and this is this and this is that. And it's like the chaos that creates on a larger scale, right? Because remember, we're all one, we're all connected, and we're all moving through similar things, just in our own unique way, even though it might not seem like it, right? And so I think I want to start by talking about what is the new earth, right? What is 5D? I don't know if 5D and new earth are interchangeable. They're really not. The 5D dimension is where we're moving beyond our bodies. It's where we're being able to access and connect on levels of telepathy, being able to see and feel energy, to be able to connect in a one love consciousness, right? And a space of consciousness where we're moving from our heart, from a place of unconditional love, a community that is beyond the physical realm, right? Whereas the new earth, I really see that as an anchoring of that 5D, or the qualities of the 5D, into the new earth, and into this physical structure and this physical realm. There's the belief in some circles that when we go to the 5D, where there's no physical plane anymore, this earth doesn't exist, and we get to see reality for what it is, right? Which is light, love, consciousness. The new earth, I see it as the evolving consciousness, where there still is the physical structure, there's still the physical constructs, but we're able to work together in a way where there is community. Things are happening on a grassroots level, we're able to meet each other in more space of unconditional love and connection, acceptance. There's more communication. There might be those wonderful things like telepathy and connecting with our angels and guides and having our superpowers, right? But really, it's anchoring the higher vibrations, right? Of the more pure consciousness, so that I want to say the older consciousness, but the old constructs are out of the way. And this is what we're really seeing happening right now. And we've probably been seeing it intensely for the past 13 years. I remember when 2012 happened and everyone thought, oh, it's going to be the Mayan prophecy and what's going to happen is the world going to end. And I remember being like, oh, like that really wasn't that big a deal, right? Like, and then but that's when things started to like pick up space and speed. And that's when things really started to move and really started to shift. There is a belief by some that in 2027, there's going to be the next big shift in consciousness. Again, we're not all of a sudden going to go to 5D, but we're going to be sped up right on that path. And what we're really seeing, probably in the last 5 years, is a total breakdown, right? A total breakdown of the old and a birthing of the new. We're seeing it in governments. We're seeing it in constructs, right? We're seeing it the way I'm seeing it in my life is my identity, my sense of purpose, my idea of what I thought my life was going to be. And I have a great life now. I had a great life that I loved. I thought it was perfect, and it was like, no, like you need to change, you need to grow. We're seeing it just in every aspect of society that you could imagine. And again, there's usually different camps and different beliefs and different things that we're like, okay, well, my identity's here. And it's painful because there's a lot of division, there's a lot of uncertainty, and I liken it to like a hurricane, right? There's a lot of energy swirling all around and all around and all around. And it's so easy to get caught up in it, right? Whether it's in our own fear or lack of, whether it's in the sense of our own life blowing apart, whether it be change in relationship, loss of job, loss of purpose, illness, whatever's happening or flowing in that way. Whether it's just in what we're seeing when we look at the news. I actually highly recommend don't watch the news, right? Because that takes you out of truth, right? It takes you into these narratives and these stories that yeah, that we can shift. And so how do we shift them? How do we ground in to the center without being part of the storm? And how do we navigate this in a way that doesn't bypass the truth of our fears or the shedding that we're going through, but that also allows us to find peace? And this is something I've really been playing with in my life a lot. And again, for me, it's more on a personal scale. I definitely and I'm constantly looking at what patterns of mine, my ancestral patterns or my survival patterns, are keeping me from unlocking my pure potential. What patterns are keeping me locked to a certain way instead of opening up to a higher experience of grace or connection or flow. And a lot of it is, in fact, this is a good invitation, is that I don't pause. I'm constantly moving like this. I keep doing circles today, constantly moving. I mean, I might pause, I meditate, I do qigong, I go for walks, but when do I actually pause? And so let's all take a moment here. Let go of whatever you're doing just for a moment. I know it's hard. Take a deep breath in. Ah, can you settle? Maybe you notice some discomfort. Maybe there's some vibration. Maybe there's some energy. Can you just be with that? Because when we don't pause, when we don't stop, How do we connect with what is not of the story, right? The story of our mind, the story of our lineage, the story of the uncertainty or the chaos that is moving through the collective at this time. Life is living itself through us in every moment. We are not the ones that know what's best. These minds, oh my God, they can come up with amazing ideas and creative ideas. And there's things we do that are beautiful. But the way that consciousness is unfolding in life in our world, we aren't able to control that except through our own experience. And so the way I like to look at it is nature. And in fact, that's something I'll invite you all to do this week if you're able to. Can you go out into nature at some point, a forest or by the river, desert, ocean? If you're in a major urban setting without any big parks close by, can you go to a park or connect with a tree someplace? Because when we step out into nature, especially nature that is big, especially at this time of year, spring, where everything's getting ready to burst. Now, I know in Australia it's going into fall, but in the northern hemisphere, we're just seeing the buds on the trees. We're feeling the sap starting to move. We're feeling that life force coming out, right? And as soon as we're in that space of nature, we start to realize that we're not so big and we're not so important. Not that we don't want to have a good life, of course we do. But there's a vibration and a harmonic that's much bigger than us. And what if instead of being separate from it, we started to attune more to it? And so if we come into alignment with nature, slowing down, pausing, connecting with the energy of nature in a beautiful place, or by touching a tree or however you can, and allowing that resonance and that energy to connect with us. How might that inform our system? And then in turn, how might that inform the world? See, there's like a tipping point, right? We've all heard of the tipping point or tipping points. It's like when so much energy shifts or so much energy goes in one direction, eventually it's going to pull all the energy over. And so, right now, when the energy is spinning in this crazy, chaotic, non-linear sense, and I don't think it's about going back to linear energy. I think it's part of the 5D, that's part of the new earth, is we're opening up beyond that, right? Um, but there's a peacefulness to it, there's a presence to it. And the more we can tap into that presence, the more we can tap into the true story, which is life, consciousness, Wuji, the more we can be the anchor for the change that is happening. Now, birthing is hard, birthing is bloody, birthing is painful, right? And so we're in a great birth. It's not that it's all of a sudden going to be easy, but if we connect into the bigger picture, the bigger truth, our experience might be a lot more graceful. because the mind informing us that we have to move in the old way, it's just getting us to bang our head against the wall. Do you notice that? Like, bang the head. I just tried that, it didn't work. I just tried that, it didn't work. That used to always just work for me. Well, it's not working because it's not relevant anymore. So let's take a few minutes and just connect into this bigger picture, into nature, into the presence. And so closing your eyes if you're able. And again, just slowing down a little bit, softening, and seeing if you can find the space within you that feels like home. Might be your heart, it might be your belly, it might be your knee. It really doesn't matter. Where do you find that space that feels like home? And take a moment and open into its grace. Open into its wisdom. And notice or imagine the chaos of the collective, acquired consciousness, acquired minds swirling around you. Some of you might feel it 3 or 4 feet around you, some might feel it further, and some might be a lot closer. It might even be hard to stay out of it. I often can imagine again, like the hurricane or the vibration of the collective uncertainty, and then noticing that the more that I come into center, the more that I connect to center, the more peace there is, and that I notice that I don't have to be part of that. Oh, of course I'm going to dip into it. And of course I am part of it because it's my shadows too. But I don't have to live it all the time. The more you can dip into the center of the storm, the eye of the hurricane, the place of presence that exists within all things, the brighter your field will get, and the more present you will be, and the easier it will be to navigate or move through each moment that life brings you. And so this isn't about bypassing, it's not about not feeling the fear, the uncertainty, the depression, the grief, the excitement, the joy, all of it, right? But it's allowing that to move through you. Emotions are energy in emotion. That's the way I think of emotions. They're energy in motion when they're healthy. And so it's allowing it to move through you without attaching to them. Mm. So where is your work to come into present? Where are you perhaps limiting yourself or holding yourself to the current narrative of your life or of the collective life? And where are you being asked to break the patterns? Where are you being asked to show up in a completely different way? Because if there's one thing we know for certain, is we really don't know anything. And if there's another thing that I truly believe, and again, maybe this is just my story, but my sense is what was is no longer. And as things shift, as things fall away, can we be more supported as we're connected to center in alignment with nature instead of continuing the circle of samsara, right? So lots to be with this week, lots to think about. Actually, I invite you not to think about it so much, but instead to just really open into this idea of where can you pause? Where can you just stop? There's a great app I have for my phone. It's called the Triple Flame app. It's by Gene Keys. Gene Keys has an amazing body of work that's been channeled by this man named Richard Rudd. And it's a free app, and you can set it so that every 3 hours a timer goes off to remind you to pause. And there's guided meditations on there, and it's beautiful. But even just having the phone go, it's time, it can open you up to this new reality that we're grounding in. So, anyways, thank you so much for listening to me today. I have a beautiful guest next week. We're going to talk about sound healing, sound vibration, vibrations of the universe. Check out our guided meditation on youtube.com at Soulstar Collective. And you can find me at asrael.love or facebook.com/asrael.love. I hope you all have a beautiful day and enjoy this bursting of spring and life. With so much love to you all. Namaste.